Hello everyone, this is part 4 video on past year NEET questions from the chapter Structure of Atom. We'll start with a question that has come in 2011. Total number of atomic orbitals in the fourth energy level of atom is. So we need to find what is the total number of the atomic orbitals. Now the atomic orbitals in any level will be depending upon the value of the principal quantum number. So if you look at the first energy level with n is equal to 1, we'll only have one orbital, which is the s orbital. Second energy level with n is equal to 2, we'll have one s orbital and 3p orbitals. Totally the count will be 4. Third level will have principal quantum number 3 and it will be having 1s, 3p orbitals and 5 d orbitals. Totally the count will be 5 plus 3, 8, 9. So the total number of atomic orbitals possible in any main energy level will be given by the empirical formula n square. So if the energy level is the fourth level, then the total number of atomic orbitals will be 4 square, which will be equal to 16. And we even have an empirical formula for the total number of electrons, because every orbital will be having maximum 2 electrons. So total number of electrons in any main energy level will be given by the formula 2n square, because it will be just double of the total number of orbitals. So the correct answer for this is option B, which is 16. Move on to the next question. This is a question that has come in 2009. Which of the following is not permissible arrangement of electrons in an atom? Now, this is a very important model of question. If you look at the permissible values of the quantum numbers, everything would depend upon the principal quantum number n. For a given value of n, L can have values from 0 to n minus 1. And for a given value of L is the azimuthal quantum number, n is the principal quantum number. M, magnetic quantum number, can have values from minus L including 0 to plus L. Spin quantum number is assigned either a value of plus half or minus half. Now we'll go through the options one by one. First option, n is 5. If n is 5, L3 will be possible, because L can have values from 0 to 4 that way. And if L is 3, M0 will be possible, because M values will be from minus 3 to plus 3 including 0. And S plus half, of course, is possible. So the option A is a permissible arrangement of quantum numbers. Let us come to option B. Option B, n is equal to 3. If n is equal to 3, L can have values from 0 to 2, because it can have values from 0 to n minus 1. So L is equal to 2 is possible. If L is equal to 2, then M can have values from minus 2 to plus 2 including 0. M cannot have a value minus 3. So the option B is not a permissible set. So the correct answer for this will be option B, which is not the permissible set. We can even go over the other two options. Option C, if you look at it, n is given to be 3. So if n is equal to 3, L can have values from 0 to 2, possible. If L is equal to 2, M can have values from minus 2 to plus 2. So minus 2 value is possible. And S is minus half is accepted. So option C is also permissible set. Option D, n is equal to 4. If n is equal to 4, L can have values from 0 to 3. 0 to n minus 1, so it can have values from 0 to 3. So this is possible. And if L is 0, M can only have one value, which is 0. That is possible. And S is minus half is accepted. So option D is also permissible set. In this, the only set which is not permissible is option B. So when we are analyzing these questions on permissible values of quantum number set, we have to start from the given value of principal quantum number, check what are the permissible values of the azimuthal quantum number L, and for that particular value of azimuthal quantum number L, we have to check what are the permissible values of the magnetic quantum number M, and we have to verify whether S is either plus half or minus half. If some other value is given for S, means that is also not accepted. So this is how we are going to approach these kind of questions. We'll go on to the next question. This is a question that came in 2009. Maximum number of electrons in a subshell of atom is determined by the following. Now every subshell is represented by a particular value of the azimuthal quantum number L. So for the S subshell, the value of L is 0. For the P subshell, it is 1, D it is 2, F it is 3, and so on. We have G, H also, but we don't need to bother too much about them, because the elements that are available on the surface of Earth, we have the electrons filled only up to the F subshells. So in any subshell, the total number of orbitals, in any subshell is given by the count 2L plus 1, because magnetic quantum number, which represents the orientation of each orbital, can have values from L including 0, minus L to plus L. So the number of orbitals possible for a given subshell is given by 2L plus 1. Each orbital, as per the conclusion of the Pauli's exclusion theory, will have 2 electrons, maximum capacity. So the maximum number of electrons in a particular subshell will be given by 2 into 2L plus 1, which will be equal to 4L plus 2. So if you check by this expression, the maximum count of electrons in S subshell will be L is equal to 0, it will be 2. The maximum count of electrons in P subshell, L is equal to 1, so 4 into 1 is 4 plus 2 6. For the D subshell, 4 into 2 is 8 plus 2 10. For the F subshell, 4 into 3 is 12 plus 2, it will be 14, and so on. So this is how we will find the total number of electrons, the maximum capacity of electrons in a subshell. So the correct answer for this is option D, which is 4L plus 2. Moving on to the next question. This is again one more question based on the permissible set of quantum numbers. So here we are given 5 sets of quantum numbers, and they are asking which of the following sets of quantum numbers is not possible. So maybe we have multiple sets of quantum numbers which are not possible. Now we'll do the same approach like we did before. What we'll do is we'll first take the given value of n, principal quantum number, and check what are the permissible values of the azimuthal quantum number. For that value of L, we'll check what are the permissible values of M, and in the end we'll check if S is either plus half or minus half. So this is the approach we are going to be taking. Now for the first n is equal to 3, for n is equal to 3, L can have values. So for a given value of n, L can have values from 0 to n minus 1. For a given value of L, M can have values from minus L including 0 to plus L. And as we already said, S can have either plus half or minus half. So in the first option, n is 3. n3 means L can be 0 or 1 or 2. So L0 is possible. If L is 0, M can only have one value, which is 0. That is also acceptable. and S is plus half. So this is a permissible set. Let us go to option 2. Principal quantum number n is given as 2. If n is given as 2, L can have values 0, 1 because L values are 0 to n minus 1. So L is equal to 2 is not possible. So the second one is not acceptable set. We'll go to the third option. Principal quantum number n is 4. If principal quantum number is 4, azimuthal quantum number L can have values from 0 to 3. So 3 is possible. If L is 3, M can have values from minus 3 including 0 to plus 3. So minus 2 is actually possible and S is minus half, so it is acceptable. Let us come to the fourth option. Principal quantum number is 1. Then the azimuthal quantum number can only have one value, which is 0. If L is 0, M has to be 0. M cannot have any other value. So M minus 1 is not acceptable. Fifth option. Principal quantum number is 3. So L can have values either 0 or 1 or 2 because it can have values up to n minus 1. So this L2 is possible. But if L is 2, M can have values from minus 2 to plus 2 including 0. But M is equal to 3 is not acceptable. So this is also not an permissible set. Now we can see that 2, 4, 5 are basically not permissible or not possible set of quantum numbers. So the correct answer for this is option B. So whenever we have a problem on analyzing whether a set of quantum numbers are permissible or not, we will do the same approach. We will start with the given value of principal quantum number, check for that value of principal quantum number if the azimuthal quantum number values are allowed or not, and for a given value of azimuthal quantum number if the magnetic quantum number values are allowed or not, and if S is either plus half or minus half. So this is the approach we have to take to solve problems on the permissible values of quantum numbers. We'll go on to the next question. This is a question came in 2006. The orientation of an atomic orbital is governed by. Now we have 4 sets of quantum numbers: spin quantum number, magnetic quantum number, principal quantum number, azimuthal quantum number. Spin quantum number significance is it indicates the spin of the electron clockwise or anti-clockwise in a particular atomic orbital. Magnetic quantum number is the quantum number that differentiates degenerate orbitals. So orbitals in a particular subshell, they have same energy but they differ in terms of their orientation in space, and that is indicated by the magnetic quantum number. So the orientation of atomic orbitals in space is governed by the magnetic quantum number M. Principal quantum number, we indicate this with the symbol N, is a representation of what is the main energy level, and azimuthal quantum number L indicates the shape of the subshell. So if you look at the correct answer for this will be the magnetic quantum number. Talking about the magnetic quantum number, if you look at the 3 p orbitals, the px, py and pz, which will be oriented along the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis, they will be different in terms of their magnetic quantum numbers. So one of these orbitals will have a magnetic quantum number -1, other will have 0, other will have +1. Same is the case with the d orbitals. We have 5 d orbitals in an d subshell: dxy, dyz, dxz, dx square, y square and dz square. So these 5 orbitals differ in terms of their magnetic quantum number. So -2, -1, 0, +1, +2. So each of them will be assigned a different value of the magnetic quantum number. So the correct answer which indicates the orientation of the atomic orbital is the magnetic quantum number. Move on to the next question. This is a question that came in 2003. The ions O2 minus, F minus, Na plus, Mg2 plus, Al3 plus are isoelectronic, means they will be having the same number of electrons. In fact, all of them will be having the number of electrons which will be equal to 10. Then their ionic radiations. Basically, if you look at the isoelectronic species, all of them would have the same number of electrons which will be surrounding the nucleus. So the electronic arrangement of isoelectronic species will be similar. What would differ is the nuclear power. Now, whenever the nuclear power is higher, the electrons will be pulled more strongly towards the nucleus, and the radius will be lower. So if you see, as we move from oxide ion to Al3 plus, here in case of oxygen, the nuclear power is because of 8 protons. For aluminium, the nuclear power is because of 13 protons. Inside the nucleus we'll have protons and neutrons. Neutrons don't carry any charge. So as we see, when we move from the oxide ion to the aluminium ion, the nuclear power is increasing from 8 protons to 13 protons. So what we see is a significant decrease of the ionic radius. So whenever we are trying to compare the radius of isoelectronic species, higher the nuclear power, lesser will be the radius. So that is the trend we have to consider. We'll go on to the next question. This is a question came in 2002. Which of the following is isoelectronic? Now, whenever we have a question like this, it's a very basic kind of a question. What we have to be doing is, we have to simply count all the electrons of the atoms given in the molecule. If it is a negative ion, we have to add one more electron. If it is a positive ion, we have to subtract the number of electrons which is equal to the positive charge. Now we can go through the options one by one. So carbon and 2 oxygen atoms. Carbon is having 6 electrons plus each oxygen atom is having 8 electrons. So here we have to be counting the total electrons. Each oxygen atom is having 8 electrons. So 2 into 8, which is 16, totally it is 22. NO2, nitrogen 7, 2 oxygens is 16, so it will be 23. So this is not isoelectronic species. And we can see NO2 minus. So NO2 minus means, already we did the calculation here, NO2 it will be 23. So NO2 minus will be 24 because it is having one more extra electron. And CO2, as we just did before, CO2 will be 22. So this is also not isoelectronic species set. Come to option C, Cn minus, carbon is 6, nitrogen is 7, minus means we add plus 1. Totally it will be 14. This is Cn minus. And CO, carbon monoxide, carbon is 6, oxygen is 8, totally it will be 14. So this set is isoelectronic set. So we just have to count the total number of electrons of the atoms. Negative ion means we have to add that many number of electrons. Positive ion means we have to subtract that many number of electrons. So this is how we will be approaching the problems on isoelectronic species. We'll move on to the next question. The following quantum numbers are possible for how many orbitals? N is given to be 3, L is given to be 2, M is plus 2. This is a question that came in 2001. Now N equal to 3 represents the third level. L equal to 2 represents, because L is 0 for the S, L is 1 for the P, 2 for the D. It represents 3D subshell. In 3D subshell, we will have 5 orbitals. Each of them will differ in terms of their magnetic quantum number. So magnetic quantum number can have values -2, -1, 0, +1, +2. Each of them will correspond to one of the d orbitals. Now if they say that n equal to 3, L equal to 2 and m equal to plus half, then we are essentially talking about just one of these orbitals in the 3D subshell. So the correct answer for this is option A, which is one orbital. Again, this is a question on the isoelectronic species. This came in the year 2000. So we are given 4 options over here. What we have to be doing essentially is count the number of electrons in each of these molecules or ions and check which of them will satisfy. So if you see, if you can go through these options one by one, then what you will essentially be able to see is option C will be the correct set of isoelectronic species. So if we have N2, each nitrogen 7 electrons, so 7 into 2 it will be 14. CO, carbon 6 oxygenate, it will be 14. Cn minus, carbon 6 nitrogen 7, minus means we have to add 1, totally it will be 14. And O2 plus 2, so O2 means 2 oxygens, so 16. Now positive charge means we have to subtract those many number of electrons because the species has lost that much count of electrons. So 16 minus 2 will be 14. So that's why option C will be indicating the isoelectronic species. You can check the other options, they would not be isoelectronic species. Even if you look at the option D, calcium, magnesium and chlorine, I mean here these are not ions, these are just the atoms that are indicated. Calcium, the atomic number is 20, so it will have 20 electrons, magnesium 12, chlorine 17. So we can go through the other options also. You will see that those given species will not be under the isoelectronic category. We'll go to the next question. This came in 1997. Again, this is a question on the isoelectronic species. The ion that is isoelectronic with carbon monoxide. Now if you see carbon monoxide, it has got total number of electrons, carbon 6 oxygenate 14. So we have to see which of these ions will have 14 electrons. Start with Cn minus, carbon 6 nitrogen 7, minus means we have to add 1, totally it will be 14. So the correct answer for this is option A, which is Cn minus. We can check the other options also. If you take O2 plus, 2 oxygens, 2 into 8, plus means subtract 1, so it will be 15. O2 minus, 2 oxygens, 2 into 8, negative charge means we have to add electrons, it will be 17. N2 plus, 2 into 7, plus means we have to subtract because positive charge would mean electrons are lost, so it will be 13. So the correct answer for this is option A, which is Cn minus. We'll move on to the next question. This came in 1996. The orbitals are called degenerate when the orbitals are having the same energy. Degenerate orbitals are the orbitals that belong to a particular subshell and they will be having the same energy. If you look at a 2p subshell, in this we'll have 2px, 2py and 2pz. In the absence of magnetic field, these orbitals will be having, similarly if you look at 3D, we'll have 3d xy, 3d yz, 3d zx, 3d x square y square and 3d z square. So in the absence of magnetic field, the degenerate orbitals will be having the same energy. So the correct answer for this is option D, which is that the degenerate orbitals will be having the same energy. And with regard to the degenerate orbitals, there is no correlation to the wave functions. Now wave function represents how the electron cloud is spread around the nucleus. So it indicates the probability of finding electron wave in a particular region or space. That is what is the wave function significance. So the correct answer for this is option D, which is the degenerate orbitals will be having the same energy. We'll go on to the next question. This came in 1994. If electron has spin quantum number plus half and magnetic quantum number minus 1, then it cannot be present in. The four options given to us are d orbital, f orbital, p orbital and s orbital. Now the spin quantum number can only have two permissible values, plus half and minus half. So this is possible for electron in any orbital. So there is no discussion about the spin quantum number. The only thing is about the magnetic quantum number. So magnetic quantum number here is given as minus 1. Now if you see, for azimuthal quantum number L, which corresponds to the S, M can only have one value, which is 0. For azimuthal quantum number 1, which is the p subshell, M can have values minus 1, 0, plus 1. For azimuthal quantum number 2, which is corresponding to D, M can have values minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1, plus 2. For azimuthal quantum number 3, which corresponds to F, M can have values minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1, plus 2 and plus 3. Now you can see M minus 1 is possible only starting from the P. For S, M can only have one value, which is 0. So if the electron is having a spin quantum number plus half and magnetic quantum number minus 1, then this is not possible for the s orbital. So the right answer for this is option D, which is the s orbital.